On today's episode of You Asked, where are my Sony Bravia 7 and Bravia 9 reviews at? The Apple TV 4K's new 21:9 support feature. Who's that for? Why can't TV's full screen brightness match their HDR highlight brightness? And a real-world test case for how long an OLED TV should last. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and this is You Asked, the show where I answer questions you asked in hopes that I can help you and others with similar tech questions. If you've got a question for me, please email it to youasked@digitaltrends.com, and we'll see if your question gets picked to be answered on the show. I'm going to start with what might be the most asked question over the past week from the YouTube comments section, and that would be some variation or another of, when is the Bravia 7 review coming out? Or where's the Sony Bravia 9 review? My personal favorite, though, has to be Jogo8261, who wrote, "Why are you guys stalling on the Bravia 7 and Bravia 9 reviews?" Now, at first I was going to say that maybe it was just a poor choice of words, but stalling suggests deliberate delay. And I haven't deliberately delayed jack diddly squat, but then I remembered, actually, I did stall the Bravia 7 review. Sony offered to send me the Bravia 7 a few weeks ago, but the way the timing would have worked, the TV would have shown up either right as I was leaving or worse, while I was actually on vacation. So while it pained me to do so, I told Sony, hold on to that Bravia 7 for a bit and let's work it out when I get back. Well, when I got back, wouldn't you know it, the Bravia 9 was just 2 days away from being able to be shipped. So I've got a Bravia 9 and a Sony Theater Quad system on the way, and I intend to get that Bravia 7 shortly after that. Guys, I see your comments, and I know you guys out there want those TVs reviewed more than anything else. So as soon as that Sony stuff lands here, I'll jump right on it. Actually, the shipments should be here the day after this episode goes live, so you won't have to wait too much longer after that. In the meantime, though, there's 115 inches of TCL QM8 taking up a massive amount of space in this studio, which is actually why we're using this different background temporarily. I'll be working that TV until the Sony stuff shows up. And then there's the Roku Pro, the Hisense U9N, the U7N, the LG C4, the Samsung S90D, all the Versus videos that will need to happen after those reviews are done. Oh, and I have these amazing speakers here too. I guess it's a good thing I got that vacay in, because I'm not going to get another one for a while. And as long as we're doing status checks on reviews, some of you are wondering where the Klipsch Flexus system review went. Well, again, vacation. But also, TVs just take priority. But also, some not great things happened once I got the subwoofer and surrounds on that system hooked up and I really started digging in. And frankly, I haven't been super excited to get back to it. Not a whole lot of positive motivation going on there. Just being honest. If you really want me to get that particular product in, I need some motivation. The positive kind down in the comments. And I don't know, I'll petition the universe to go ahead and add a good 48 hours to one of these weeks, and we'll try to sneak it in. Sean B writes, "Hi Caleb, Apple just announced Apple TV 4K support for 21:9 projectors. The only ultra-wide displays I've seen are gaming monitors, which don't have as high a resolution as 4K displays. I know that lots of movies have letterbox bars on my 16:9 TV, which indicates their aspect ratio is wider, but it works just fine. Seems supported to me. What's the big difference with displaying 16:9 content on a 21:9 device, computer, monitor, or projector? And aside, why are there no 21:9 TVs on the market?" Sean, I love the question. And actually, I talked a little bit about this announcement in this week's Knit Nerds News on Friday, which if y'all aren't tuning in for that, please consider doing so. I could always use your feedback. Anyway, Sean, first things first, what Apple is doing here is making the Apple TV 4K a little more friendly to dedicated home theater setups that use projectors and 21:9 cinema screens. The Apple TV 4K will currently present any 21:9 content in a 16:9 format with both letterboxes and pillar boxes on the side. You can imagine that's frustrating for anyone who has a screen wide enough to show all of a 21:9 image, just to be forced to have such a small image on their big screen. Best they can do is zoom in on that image, but then you cut down the effective resolution and it's gonna look pretty bad. So now that's not gonna be a problem for folks. As for why there aren't any 21:9 consumer TVs, well, it's not like it wasn't tried. Samsung and LG both made large 21:9 TVs at one point. We saw them at CES. Those TVs even flexed between curved and flat. I mean, it was an awesome time. However, those were super specialty TVs, very expensive, and they did not sell well. 21:9 TVs will always be a specialty, I think, because most of the content that folks watch is at 16:9. Live TV, sports, sitcoms, TV dramas, it's all 16:9. Although, now that you have Netflix, Max, Disney Plus, and other video on demand services doing more cinematic style shooting for serialized episodic content, maybe we could see 21:9 aspect TVs sell a little better if someone tried to make and sell them again. Now that it's not just movies in that format, but more of the content we watch is now shot at 21:9, seems like it would be more likely to sell. But frankly, while letterboxing is more easily tolerated now than it once was, pillar boxing seems to be the kiss of death for anyone without an absolutely massive screen. So, I don't know, what do you all think? Who wants to see 21:9 TVs make a comeback? Let me know down in the comments. Oliver C. writes, I have a question regarding HDR highlights. Can you explain why some TVs like the TCL QM8 can hit very high brightness measurements on small HDR windows like a 2% window, but when the 100% window entire screen is measured, the nits drop? For a mini LED TV, it seems like the TV would be brighter with all LEDs maxed out as opposed to just a few in a small area. I'm sure my understanding is wrong here, but hoping you can explain this. Man, I love this question too. These are fun today. So actually, Oliver, your understanding is not off. It is true that if all the mini LED backlights in a TV were driven to their max, as they clearly are in smaller groups for smaller test windows, then the TV would be way brighter. There are two issues with that though. One is power management. It would take a tremendous amount of power to pull off, say, 4,000 nits full screen white. Could it be done? Yes, I think it could. We talked a little bit about this in a previous episode where we talked about what the power limits might be with a 120 volt, 20 amp mains feed from a wall outlet. But even if the power from the wall were a limitation, it could probably be done with capacitors in the TV. But do you have any idea what 4,000 nits of full screen brightness would do to your eyes, even in a daylight soaked room, and even at about 65 inches screen size, let alone a bigger screen? It's a lot. Hell, it's a lot from a 10% window. Not a great experience. But also, think about what happens if your average picture level were to be that high. You'd have raised the roof on HDR highlights. How bright would those highlights need to be to stand out at that point? Well beyond what TVs are capable of right now. So, for numerous reasons, not a great idea to get that bright at a full screen. Next question comes in from Barry Mayhew, and I love this one too. Now I'm going to summarize Barry's comments and questions for brevity, and it goes like this. Barry has been using a 2016 LG C6 OLED for the past 8 years. It's got 17,909 hours on it. Folks, that's incredible. If you do the math, that's about 6 hours of use every single day for an entire 8 years. And Barry is just now starting to notice that the TV is wearing out, as you can see in Barry's photos. Now, Barry continues to say he's loved his OLED and is prepared to pony up for an LG G4. But he goes on to ask if I think he should consider a non-OLED TV, since this will be the main TV in the house and it's gonna get a lot of use. To which I reply, Barry, why? You used your C6 OLED for an average of 6 hours every day for 8 years, and it's just now wearing out. You got great use out of that TV. Now, I know folks are used to the idea of keeping their TVs for 10 plus years, but right or wrong, that's an increasingly rare lifespan for a TV these days, no matter what display technology the TV uses. Barry, you've been on Team OLED for 8 years, and I personally think you should probably stay on Team OLED for your next TV. The LG G4 is awesome. You'll love how much brighter it is than your C6. It looks great for SDR as well as HDR. The processing is significantly better than your C6. The G4 will feel like a big upgrade. The only reason I wouldn't recommend OLED is if you're looking for a big upgrade in screen size. Those bigger OLEDs get expensive in a hurry. You didn't mention that in your email, but if that were the case, then you might want to look at a good quality mini LED TV set. Otherwise, get that G4. You're gonna love it. It comes with a 5-year warranty. It has more measures to protect the screen just built into the TV now. Just seems like that would be the best choice for you. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, do me a solid, slap it with a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you on the next one, and until then, here's 2 other videos I think you might like. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, do me a... Thanks as always for